ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। So in the last class, we were almost in the concluding section of the 9th chapter of Shrimad Bhagavad Gita. 2 more verses are remaining, the 33rd and the 34th verse of the 9th chapter. And with the 34th verse, the 9th chapter is concluded. So in the last class, we were studying the 31st and the 32nd. So where we find that the universality of the bhakti has been spoken of. So this is the characteristic of this Bhagavad Gita, that it has discussed all the paths. And bhakti, we will find, is having a very, very significant place in the Bhagavad Gita. So in the 32nd verse, what we studied, Mang hi partha vyapasritya yepi syu papa yonayah striya vaishyas tatha shudra stepi yanti parang gatim. That if you may not be a cultured person, most probably you never had the proper background. As a child, most probably you were born in a family where no favorable circumstances for the spiritual practices were available. The parents themselves were from the disturbed background. So Papa Yoni indicates that type of family. And it's obvious that unless you have a proper environment, it's very difficult to develop some sublime character traits, the traits of the character which speaks of sublimity. It's very difficult. Even the modern psychology, the modern science, they say what to speak of the parents. Even when the child is in the mother's womb, the mother's mental condition actually in a great way affects the child who is in the mother's womb. That she should be very happy, she should be having very good thoughts. So that way we find that there are situations where the child who is still in the womb may not get the proper environment. The child who is born, he may not get in the proper environment. So Papa Yoni speaks of that. It's not something that speaks of some very sinful in general. That anything which is not favorable, as we were indicating in the last class, that the word sin is used in a very, very negative sense. The actual etymological meaning of the word sin is very interesting, very nice. But it says that each and every human being has the potentiality to excel in each and every field. But somehow there is a procrastination. Not only procrastination, there are some negativities within us. Lack of faith, lack of discipline, procrastination. All those things doesn't allow us to reach our potential, to manifest our potential. And that is sin. This, our inability to attain our potential, that is sin. So I still remember in India, we used to go to various schools, and for some reason or other, just by the way of talk, the small children, for some reason, we will say, raise your hands. It was a very common thing. And we will find that most of the children, first they will hesitate. They will look around, why they are asking for raising the hand, some confusion. And then someone will raise hand just a little. And then we have to insist, raise, see that I have raised my hand fully, raise your hand. And then gradually they will raise their hand. And then the message we used to just try to give to them, see, you had the capacity. When we asked you that raise your hand, at the very beginning you could have raised your hand straight, upright. But first there was a confusion why he is asking. And then some fear. Most probably the others will say me fool. There are so many students. If he has said some person came and asked me to raise his hand, he have raised his hand, others haven't raised, so I will be considered as a fool. So all these doubts, tensions, these are the negativities that somehow crops up in the mind and doesn't allow us to realize the potential that is already within us. So that's why Swami Vivekananda's definition of religion, that religion is the manifestation of the divinity which is already within us. Education is the manifestation of the perfection which is already within us. It's not something we have to acquire. It is already within us. There are certain ignorance, delusional factors which has to be removed, and then the potentiality is realized. So that's why we will say that the word sin as such has a very good intonation, that it actually speaks of the potentiality within us. And it warns us by saying that yes, that potentiality we have within, but somehow there are some negative factors which doesn't allow us to realize that, get rid of that, realize the inner potentiality. Why the sin is considered a very negative word? Because at last what it has become, that I am basically a sinner. So this is the wrong idea which we have with the wrong interpretation of the word sin, that basically I am a sinner. That inherent sin is within me. But Vedanta is always asserting, even the other religions also, if you go to the etymological, is asserting that no, you are divine. You are not basically a sinner. That you remove all the negativities, the goodness will manifest in you. So we always used to say a very interesting thing to the students, that we say that in our scriptures they say that speak the truth and always speak the pleasant truth. Never say the unpleasant truth. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat. Speak the pleasant truth. Why? Most probably unpleasant truth is never truth at all, most of the time. How? A small child have done something, some mischief, most probably has done something very silly, and the mother gets disgusted and shouts at the child, you are silly, you are a fool. So that's something which is an unpleasant. Maybe you may say it's truth. He is doing again and repeatedly, he is doing something very foolish. That's why I have told him he is fool, he is a silly fellow. But that is untruth. Why? Yes, he has done something silly, but that doesn't mean that inherently he is a silly fellow or a fool. He has the potentiality to become something great. Just because of inadvertence, for the time being, he has done something which is silly, but that doesn't define him. Most probably he has spoken a lie. That doesn't mean he is a liar. That through eternity, that will be defining him. No, he will change. That at that instance, because of fear, because of some reason, most probably he has spoken something lie, but that doesn't mean he is a liar. What we could have told him, just like Krishna, the way when Arjuna at the very beginning of the war, he was dejected, seeing his own relative, he was full of sorrow, that how to face my own relatives. A type of cowardice enveloped him. And then what's Sri Krishna is saying? Ashocyan anno shochastem. We have studied at the very beginning. Pragya, that you are basically a warrior. You are basically a man of wisdom. But somehow, this klaivyam masma gamah partha naitatyupapadhyaye, it doesn't befit you. Naitat yupapadyate. This doesn't befit you. You are actually great. Somehow this delusion has enveloped you, has encompassed you. But that doesn't define you. Naitat yupapadyate means that. Get rid of it. Arise. So that's the real meaning of that word which we are saying, that sin doesn't mean something that inherent, which we can get rid of. So that's why Papa Yoni also speaks that I have born in some environment which is not conducive for my spiritual growth. But that doesn't mean I can never. It's difficult, but it is not impossible. So that's the thing which Bhagavan was indicating, that even in the olden days, the Stri, Vaishya, they were Shudra. They were debarred from studying Vedas. And naturally, you were not exposed to that Vedic culture with which you can refine yourself through the disciplines, spiritual disciplines which has been spoken of. Then are you debarred from any spiritual growth? No. Even for you, if you can somehow develop this devotion, nothing else is required. That itself can take you to the highest spiritual rung, highest rung of the spiritual ladder. It will take you to the highest rung of the spiritual ladder. So that's what Bhagavan was assuring. And after that, in the next verse, which this 33rd verse, which we are going to study now, the 9th chapter, here he is saying that even for the one who has been born in unfavorable circumstances, who has been deprived from all the studies, they can also develop devotion. And what to speak of those who are born in the proper culture. For them, nothing should debar from the spiritual, nothing could stop them, should stop them. And Arjuna belongs to such a family. So we will find the entire Bhagavad Gita, that's the trend. Again and again he is inspiring Arjuna that you have these favorable circumstances. For you to go to such dejection, which you think is spiritual, is actually not spiritual. Even in this battlefield, this battle can become your spiritual journey if you are properly oriented. The entire Bhagavad Gita speaks of the change of your attitude, correction of your attitude, refinement of your attitude. It's not just changing the way of our life. Whatever we are doing, we need not have to renounce that, as if like a surgical operation, just we have to have a total removal of some of the, this growth, as if. When you have a tumor, we have to remove it. This has to be a surgical procedure to get rid of it. So here, Gita is never speaking of such surgical procedure. That it's with whatever you are doing, in whatever phase of life you may be, in whatever circumstances you may be, for you, spiritual growth is possible. And for that, he is again and again inspiring Arjuna. So here what he is saying now, next verse, King punar brahmana punya bhakta raja shayos tatha anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. So first line is saying that the favorable circumstances you have been born in, so it shouldn't in any way stop you from your religion, from your spiritual journey, because already you have got the favorable circumstances. And the second line speaks, it is not an option. The second line speaks, anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasvamam. Okay, they may say that, yes, I have been born in a family where I can practice spirituality, but there are so many other things which I can pursue. Why spirituality? I am not interested in it. In that, when the Bhagavan finds that you are capable, you have that good samskaras for your spiritual evolution, and there Bhagavan as if makes it say mandatory. As Sri Ramakrishna used to say, there are 3 types of teachers. And he used to give the example of 3 types of physician first. That who is the worst physician? You go to him, you don't have any sort of binding with him. You will find when you go to a doctor, we all have a family doctor, family general practice GP. Why? We feel that there is some sort of binding with him. We go, he tries to explain us, cajole us, that what is good, what is bad for us. But sometimes I may go to some physician, I may find that he is extremely professional. Just I go, he asks me what's my problem. He most probably prescribes me after diagnosing, and he gives me the prescription, and there it ends. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying that is the worst type of physician, who is the mediocre, who will try to insist that, see, you please change your lifestyle, take care of your diet, take the medicine regularly. He is again and again consoling. He's just again and again trying to convince me the need for this change in my way of life and to have the medicine which he has prescribed. Mediocre. And who is the best? If Sri Ramakrishna is saying, if he finds that the patient is unwilling to take the medicine. In the olden days, nowadays all the medicines are all coated. We just never feel the bitter taste of the medicine because it's all coated. But in the olden days, the Kaviraja will have to give some medicine which the patient doesn't like to take. So Sri Ramakrishna is saying that what? If the patient is not willing to take the medicine, the doctor will force him down, put his knees on his chest and forcefully he will just press his cheeks, forcefully open his mouth and pour the medicine on his mouth. That is the best type of doctor, Sri Ramakrishna is saying. So when we find that something is really good for us, but somehow because of some inadvertence, because of some our lethargy, we don't want, the one who is the Uttam Vaidya, the best physician, he will be almost forcing us. So here also we find that says Anityam Sukham Lokam. Krishna is again and again saying this in this world, you go and search for happiness. You forget me, you just do whatever you want. You may think all this religion is nonsense, spirituality is nonsense. There is a way to extract happiness from this world. As when Swami Vivekananda was in the West, there was another very famous orator. His name was Ingersoll. He was going around the states and his lectures were well attended. It was a huge crowd used to attend, but he was an agnostic. He didn't believe in any religion. So once it so happened, Swami Vivekananda and Ingersoll met. And now Ingersoll knew that Swami Vivekananda is a spiritual leader. He believes in something spiritual. And he is an agnostic. He doesn't believe in any God. So what is philosophy? He wants to just present his philosophy to Swami Vivekananda in one line. So what he says is something very interesting. This world is just an orange, and my endeavor is to squeeze it to the last drop. To squeeze it. So that's the materialistic, extremely material. I have to squeeze it to the last drop. I want to enjoy it to the last drop. Swami Vivekananda said, yes, sir. Replied, my aim is also that. But for you, the time is very short. It is just one life. You cannot squeeze it to the last drop. For me, I live in eternity. I can leisurely go on squeezing to the last drop. Because you live in time, I live in eternity. So that was Swamiji's answer. You live in time, I live in eternity. So what's the idea? So that's the thing. The same thing, this anityam asukham lokam. This world is anitya. Whatever you may try, at last you have to turn around towards spirituality. That story is the Bible story, the story of the prodigal child. It's such a wonderful story. The story of the prodigal child. That a rich man had 2 sons. The elder son is obedient. He is just like the Nitya Siddha in our words of Ramakrishna. He is obedient. He is devoted to his father. The youngest one, he is the one who is revolting. He wants to be free. He doesn't want to be with the father. He one day goes and asks his father, that give me my inheritance. Whatever I inherit, give it to me. And the father tries to explain him that you are not yet matured. You are not sufficiently matured. You grow, you become a mature person, of course, I will give you your inheritance. But he is insisting. He just constantly went on insisting, no, I want it now itself. So the father at last finding that this younger son not yielding to his request, at last he agrees, okay, I will give you your inheritance, the share of my property which you inherit, because two sons are there. So part of it, 50% of it, I give it to you. Okay. And the young son is happy. He gets his inheritance and he leaves his father. He wants to live a free life. And as the father has already mentioned, as he suspected, he was really not a mature person. With that huge wealth, he started wasting it, squandering the wealth. And in no time, within a few years, he became a pauper. He doesn't know where to get his next meal. Such was his situation. And he forgot about his father. And now again, in this situation, he again remembered his father. This situation reminded him of his father. But at the same time, he was very apprehensive, full of fear. My father is in no way going to accept me. He will throw me out. I have wasted his wealth. I have disobeyed him. But he thought, let me just give a last chance, trial for the last time. What? That let me try to go back to my father. Because at last I have no other option. Now if he throws me out, nothing can be done. But let me try, give a last try. And he proceeds towards the village. His father's place, he is again proceeding. And the father sees him from a distance. After many years, he is coming back. From a distance, he sees him. And seeing him, father runs and goes and embraces the child. And he was so happy. He brings him back. The son was lost and again he has came back. He was so happy. And in the evening, the entire village was invited. There was a huge party given to the entire village. The feast was to celebrate the son's homecoming. So this is a wonderful story. Even from the Vedantic perspective, we find this story is so wonderful. That God was one, He became many. Why He became many? That this is the idea that Ekoham Vahusyama, this Upanishad speaks. That to enjoy His bliss, that God is Ananda Swarupa. The ultimate conscious principle is Ananda Swarupa. And that bliss is experienced always through love. Now to experience His own bliss, He was one, He became many, so that He can experience the bliss through the communion of love. Now then if we have been made by God to love Him, but why we have forgotten Him? We are just running around. We don't remember, we never think of God. Why? Because very interesting thing. Nowadays it is very easy to understand why God has made this way in the age of artificial intelligence. Actually, I was just relating a long back this Stephen Spielberg's movie, Artificial Intelligence, long back in the 1990s most probably. I saw that movie. It's a wonderful movie where it shows that the world has become so advanced. It is a science fiction that artificial intelligence is almost a human replica. That an artificial intelligence can be programmed in such a way that it can have some, in that movie they are showing that a couple has a biological child and they want another child. It's not a biological child. He wants a child which will be an artificial intelligence. And they should be programmed in such a way that it should have unconditional love for the parents. And they show in the movie that young child has an unconditional love for the parents. But because of the conspiracy of the elder brother, there's sometimes this sibling rivalry, and they feel sometimes tremendous a sense of this envy towards the young. And out of jealousy and envy, the elder brother, the biological child, conspires things in such a way, I'm not going to the entire story, that the parents start suspecting the younger one. And then they start thinking, after all, he's a machine. And it can be very dangerous. Though it was programmed with, it's just like a human being. If it has been programmed with unconditional love, even if the parent scolds, he's still loving the parents. Never he can think of getting angry with the parents. In spite of that, in the movie they show that when the parents think that he can be dangerous, after it's a machine, one day in the pretext of going for some excursion to some, in a very forest area, they will go by car and they will get down from the car and they will abandon the child there and just leave by the car. The child is crying, where are you leaving me? But for them, the parent doesn't have even a little sympathy, empathy in their heart. Because they know, after all, it has been programmed. It is all, this cry, everything is programmed. It's a machine. And then the movie proceeds. Even the ending is wonderful. I'm not going to that entire thing. Just to bring the point here that why God has created us with this choice. That He wants that we should love Him, but at the same time, He has given us the choice that we may go away. Because love can never be experienced unless it is reciprocated through choice. If I know that if the one whom I love, he or she is bound to love me, I never experience. I know it is a machine. It has been programmed that way. Love can be experienced only when there is a choice. I love someone and that person has the choice. He may reciprocate, may not reciprocate. And in spite of that fact, we find that he is reciprocating. Though he had the choice, may not. Then only the love can be experienced. Otherwise, it's just a machine. And that's why God has created us in such a way that we have that choice. And then He created this world in such a way, that's wonderful. That He has created in the world, He has given us choice. You may go outward and just try to enjoy the world. But He has created the world perfectly imperfect. Nothing is perfect here. Even Swami Vivekananda as a young boy is in front of Sri Ramakrishna. One day he's saying, the scheme of the universe is devilish. I would have created a better universe. So that's devilish. The scheme of the universe is devilish. I would have created a better universe. Yeah. So what's that young reveling Naren is saying that. So this is imperfect world. He has created intentionally, perfectly imperfect. You go, try your best. At last you have to turn around. You will become like pauper. You have to lose everything. You find that you are a pauper in the bottom of your heart. With all your wealth, with all your position in life, at last I am a pauper, nothing else. And then we have to turn around. And God is eternally waiting. It is He. As Sri Ramakrishna says, if you go towards God one step, He comes running 100 steps. That's once you turn around. So that's why we find we are supposed to go to the God with the hand spread, isn't it? That we want this, we want that. And our God is such a God, He Himself has spread His hand. Gopala, you see, His hand is spread out. Gopala. He is asking, it is He is begging. Please love me. Please turn your attention towards me. He is eternally waiting. It is not we. We say we are waiting for God, but actually it is God who is waiting for us. It is not we who are waiting for God. The moment we have that Ananya Bhakti, once we say that we understand this world has nothing to give me, it is perfectly imperfect. When we turn around, He is waiting. He comes running like that Father. And that's the day of His celebration. To experience the bliss which is His nature. That's the scheme He has made. This is the universe. So that's what, when He always searches for our adversity. He has created that dukkha bhagavanir dayar dan. What wonderful words Holy Mother is saying. That suffering is the God's compassion. That when the adversity comes, that only makes us turn around. It makes us. And God is eternally waiting for that. And that's what he is saying very nicely. Is anityam asukham lokam imang prapya bhajasva. Nothing, you can get nothing here. Anitya, asukha. So prapya bhajasva, just worship me and me alone. So that's the idea. But the first line also we go, it's very interesting. This Brahmana, this, this Rajarshi, they have the favorable circumstances for religion. Now, we nowadays feel sometimes that the society has created all this hierarchy for exploiting. But if you really go to the past history, if you can really trace back to the past history, you will find very interesting. This hierarchy is something bound to happen. Any society, hierarchy is bound to happen. Why? Very basic thing you will understand, that we were food gatherers. As a human being, we invented agriculture much later in our phase of evolution. We were food gatherers. So when we became food producers, this agriculture came into existence. With agriculture, the first thing came into existence is leisure. Lot of leisure. Previously, every day I have to go out for the search of my food. There was a challenge. I may get sufficient, I may not get. I come back, again I go. Whatever I get, with that I sustain myself for that day only. Next day again I have to go out. Now, with the agriculture, I produce in 3 months so much of my crops. I store them for the rest of the year. Now I don't have to think of my food every day. And with that, it brings leisure, a lot of leisure. Now, as a human being, we need engagement. We have to do something. What to do with that leisure? With this leisure, the culture came. What? Then these people started saying, they themselves, it's not that the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas have created the Vaishyas and the Shudras. That's what the feeling, that these rich people, for their own happiness, have actually created the so-called lower people to serve them. No, it's just the opposite. The so-called who were working in their farmland created these crops. Now, in their leisure, they want to engage themselves in their leisure time. So now what has happened in the society? That all need not go for agriculture, because a few farmers can create so much of crops that the entire society can be fed. So now they created that, yes, you need not cultivate the land. So even among the Sikhs, you will find that previously, if they have 3-4 children, the elder children was a Hindu from the Hindu family, they used to become the Sikh. The idea is same, that my other children will take care of the agriculture and everything. You be exclusively religious, that you can take care of the spiritual culture. Spend your entire day for the spiritual culture. Not only spiritual culture, 2 things are required. That's something to keep me engaged in a sublime way. I need the culture, and all the crops which I am storing. Now it becomes a wealth. It can be stolen by some other tribes who are not yet cultured. They will come and just simply steal. So I need some, this administration, army. So these 2 classes, the Brahmin and the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas and the Shudras have created. It's not the opposite way. The Vaishyas and the so-called the business class, those who are cultivating the land, those who are working in the fields, even among the farmers, some were rich. They had the laborers. So the Shudras and the Vaishyas, they created the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas with lot of leisure. Now, with this Brahman and Kshatriya, what for them the exclusive time is for culturing the sublime things. So naturally, for them, their family, from the very childhood, gets the environment in that culture where they did not have to think of day-to-day sustenance. They are born in that culture. So to be, to inculcate, imbibe that culture, that becomes something, an inheritance. Naturally, they get it. And so now we can understand why Bhagavan is saying that they are born in a favorable circumstances. So this, any society, this happens. So this, when even in the present society, we will find that most of the students, you go and ask them, oh, why to go for higher studies? That's here, just after my basic education, if I go for this, some trade, I just get skilled in some trade, I can earn a lot. So, but at the same time, then why the universities are there? Because we need some small group of people to be educated to really think of the technological advancement, the other factors of the society which can speak of a much cultured, better way of living. We need them. So even in the present society, the scenario is same, and automatically the classes will be there. And it's obvious that those who need not have to think of day-to-day struggle, they get sufficient time to culture that sublime things only. And so for them, Bhagavan is saying that you, Arjuna, belong to that class. You are the Rajas, from this kingly class. And there are so many examples that this Raja Janaka, their examples are there, that they, being on this kingly class, they also have exalted spiritually. Actually, when Swami Vivekananda was criticized, when the society started saying that he is a sannyasi, he is a fake sannyasi. Why? Because he is after all not a Brahmin. Our caste system with the passage of time became so rigid that only the Brahmins were having the right for sannyasa. No other caste. So now he is a Kshatriya, Kayastha Kshatriya, that's the Kayasthas thinks they are the Kshatriyas. When Swami Vivekananda heard that, he said, it's something very silly thing you are saying. Just look at all the avatars. Buddha, from Buddha he's the son of a king. Krishna, Rama, all belong to that Rama from the Kshatriya family. Krishna is born as a Kshatriya, though he was brought up with the Gopas, but he by birth he is a Kshatriya. And later we find that he is also, his duty speaks of his kingly class. So all the avatars you see, they are from that class. And it's very interesting that the Brahmins preserve the culture, but when there is a need for reformation, to give a new turn to our spiritual thoughts, it's always the open-minded Kshatriyas. So these are the two classes who have maintained, preserved the culture, and you belong to that class. So after getting all these advantages, now if you never try to excel spiritually, then it's like a suicide. It's just like a suicide, that the purpose for which you were born, you never tried to realize that. It is just like committing suicide. So that's the thing which here we find, that even in this Viveka Chudamani, that there's a wonderful verse, when in Varanagar Mutt, with all this young, after the passing away of Ramakrishna, when all these sadhus, these disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, they were all staying together, some of the quotations they used to always keep in display. And one of these quotation is this Durlabham Trayamevaitat Devanugraha Vigraha Hetukam Deva Anugraha Hetukam. Anugraha, by the grace of Anugraha, by the grace of the divine, the three things we get. What are these three things? Manushatyam, Mumukshutvam, Mahapurusha Sangsrayaha. Manushatya, this human birth. In no other birth, your spiritual development is possible. Even our scriptures say that the humans are the only responsible beings. All the actions which we do, we only as a human being accrue the results of those actions. A lion, by pouncing on its prey, doesn't accrue any result of the action. Doesn't accrue. That he is doing some cruel, we will say he is doing some cruel act. but for him there is no karma phala. The scripture says that. Karma phala is only for the human beings. Why? Because the word responsibility will speak of that. The word responsibility, we can break it into in as responsibility is responsibility, isn't it? That we have the capacity to respond to a particular situation. Suppose I am about to have my meals and someone knocks the door and comes and say, I am I'm hungry for days, famished. I will die if I don't get a morsel of food just now. Now, as a human being, I have a choice. I have the ability to respond. I can just simply ask him that you just go off, or I can just invite him, make him sit and offer my food, what I was going, I can share or I can give him, just with the idea, I am not going to die if I just relinquish one of my meals. But this fellow is going to die. As a human being, I have the ability to respond. And now just think, these two puppies were playing. They were as if so friendly towards each other. And you go and throw just a piece of bread in between them. Will it ever happen one puppy says, okay, you are so loving to me, just you get that one? No. Immediately they will start fighting. So they have no ability to respond. Their instinct is very strong. As a human being, we have the ability to respond to a situation, and that's why we have karma phala. This birth is very important. As a human being, that's why they say even the devas aspire to be a human. Because in this life only spiritual evolution is possible. So that's why manushyatvam. There's the first thing. And then mumukshutvam, that yearning should be there. That for most of us, that we are physically human. But after all, we find we are just running for the sensate pleasures of life. All our science, all our technology, everything is there just somehow to increase the sensate pleasures of life. You all will agree. That's what constantly we are trying. But Swami Vivekananda, how nicely he is saying that as a human being, we can never enjoy the world. For that we are not born. And he's giving a very nice example. You just see, with all our technology, with all our advancement, can we enjoy a meal just the way a dog enjoys the meal? His senses are so keen. You'll find it's just simply enjoys. Not only that, its hearing is so keen, its smell is so keen. That's why we use them for spotting some this criminal in some crime spot, because they can smell. You can find this airport. In your bag you can hide something the others may not find. The dog will find. They are not going to leave you. The senses are so keen. With all our advancement, as a human being, we are not born with that keen senses. But we have a special ability. What's that? That can really think of the meaning of life, purpose of life. All other creatures are just born, they live, they just have their food, procreate and die. Do they ever think of the purpose of life? No. Human beings, somehow, however we are well fed, however we may be in good condition, now and then that question comes. What's the meaning of life? Why am I going to die? With that, is everything going to end? We are always, you may say, no, nowadays the world is in mad rush for the happiness. Swami Vivekananda pointed out very nicely. But no, actually what you look, it seems like that they are in mad rush of the happiness, actually is not so. They are trying to escape from that question. That when I am alone in my house, that whenever you are alone, as a senior person, you will find the first thing that comes to your mind of death. It comes. No one can avoid that. And I don't want to face that question. All this aje-baje chinta, all these thoughts coming, let me go out, let me just mix up with others and just be happy. You are escaping that question actually. And Sri Swami Vivekananda gives a nice example. Can you escape that way? It is just like a rabbit which is being chased by a predator. When the rabbit is chased by a predator, at last when it finds it cannot escape the predator is almost going to catch him, the rabbit will somehow borrow a hole. And it doesn't get the time to borrow a hole to entirely hide itself. It somehow hides its own face. And when it hides its own face, it cannot see the predator, and it's quiet. It's sitting there. Oh, I'm safe. So that's our condition. With all our parties and everything are just like that hole we have created. And there you are hiding your face, nothing else. The predator is waiting there. So that's the condition. So that's the thing which Krishna is indicating as anityam, asukham, lokam. Imam prapya bhajasvamam. You cannot avoid. However you may try. So once that mumukshata should be there, that manushyatya should be there, and mahapurusha sangsraya. And for this spiritual lineage, Bhagavan is saying Arjuna, he is the Mahapurusha standing in front of him. You have got all these three. Don't waste the life. That we celebrate the 1st January as the Kalpataru day. Very interesting. All will be saying that whatever wish you have for this day, you get it. Ramakrishna has become Kalpataru. But if you read his life, the episode, there only one thing he's saying. Tomader choitanyo hok. That's the word he's using. That be illumined, be illumined. He's placing all with that. All got some visions and all that's there. But what he's saying, be illumined. Now what this be illumined means, Sri Ramakrishna has given the interpretation of be illumined in some other context. He have never studied, in schools. In the very initial stage, he left the school, and that's why he had the freedom to break the words in his own way. He never learned the Sandhi Vichcheda. So he used to break the words in his own way. Manush. In Manush, this word, he used to break it as man plus hush. Grammatically, it's not correct. And that's not man plus hush is Manush. It's not grammatically, it's not correct. But what he's saying is something wonderful. That Manush means man plus hush. What it means? Man means value. In any Indian language, man, value. That as a human being, we have certain values, certain uniqueness, which no other creature have. But are you aware of that? Uska hosh hai kya? Hush. Are you aware of all those mana, of all those values which you have inherited as a human being? If you haven't inherited, then your human birth is useless. So that's the thing which he is again and again indicating. And that's the thing we find here. Bhagavan is saying, anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajas. There's no other way. Know me to be the eternal. Know yourself in essence as the spirit to be eternal. And this, our communion as the Paramatma and the Atman, if you are a devotee, you never want to be one with the divine. You want to maintain this distinction. It's well and good. You can maintain. But in essence, does a bhakta think that he is this body-mind complex? No, he also thinks he is Atman. He is eternal. He was, he is, he will be. His Lord was, is, will be. Not this body. That's why in Bible they say, worship the Spirit by the Spirit. When I'm worshipping God, I think God is the Spirit, but I am this body. No. In essence, I am that Spirit. This body will fall off, but by association with the divine is through eternity. Knowing that, bhajasvamam, imam prapya, this knowing that this world after all, this is a passing phase, this is a journey, this is not going to stay forever. But me and you are there through eternity, associated together. We are having that eternal association with the divine. Knowing that, bhajasvamam, worship me alone. Saying that, and now that he will find that this chapter started with God said, I am going to give you this Raja, this king, the secret of the secrets. Raja Vidya, Raja Guhya. The kingly knowledge, kingly secret. So we were really very much curious that what that secret knowledge is. It is as simple as that, nothing else. Manmana bhava madbhakto, the last verse. This is the secret. Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mang namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktaivam atmanam matparayana. This is manmana bhava. Think of me. Manmana. In the mind there are so many thoughts. When when Hari Maharaj, Swami Turiyananda came to Ramakrishna, and as a young boy he said that so many thoughts come to my mind. The thought of lust comes to my mind. And he thought that Ramakrishna will teach him some yoga prakriya, that do this siddhasana or something, and then your kundalini will rise, you will find this, all these instructions we find. And for that we pay packages and all. But Sri Ramakrishna just told, take the name of Lord, go on doing, chanting the name of Krishna. And Hari Maharaj first thought, useless. This fellow knows nothing. And he's just saying, so many people are taking this name of the Lord. Hari Maharaj says that when I go by the street, even I see the prostitutes are having their rosary and they are just rotating the rosary. So many are taking. What is happening? Nothing is happening. And then, after a few days, he thought, somehow he had that faith on Ramakrishna. He thought, Acha, why not me try? He has asked me, let me try. And within a few days, Swami Vivekananda used to say that amongst us, who has really become fully established in the ideas of this Vedanta and Gita, it is Hari Maharaj, Turiyananda. He was such a disciplined, such a, this person of intense renunciation. From where he got? By just following that simple instruction, take the name of the Lord. Now his mind was already very pure, they are all having good sanskara. In a few days, he found the result, wonderful result, that the mind has become calm. The simple reason is, even in modern psychology, they say that our mind throughout the day is jumping from thought to thought. But at a time, it cannot have more than one thought. It's very interesting. It can never do multitasking. We think we do multitasking. Actually, when we are doing multitasking, we are jumping from one activity to the other activity. And that's how all the activities gets compromised as per the quality is concerned. We can never do. At a time, there is one thought. So if you can keep your mind in God, other thoughts are bound to fall off. As simple as that. That's why manmana bhava. Keep your mind in me. Manmana bhava mad bhakta. Be devoted to me. Now, to keep the mind in something, the best thing is devotion. I may think that with my resolution, I will keep the mind in God. It's impossible. The mind will just again and again fall back to the worldly ways of life. What's the best way? Somehow to develop that devotion. You may say, how to develop the devotion? Go on taking the name of the Lord with a resolve. In no time, a path will be, your mind will get wired by your practice again and again. And once the path is, our nature of the mind is such that if by some resolute practice you can create a path in the mind, if your mind gets wired with one thought, then it starts liking it. Then you need not have to use the resolution. It likes. All our likings develop that way. Anything which we do, all our tests are acquired. We use the word acquired test. All our tests are acquired. Not a single test is there which we haven't acquired. In Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography, here he has mentioned very interesting thing, that to get rid of this rasana, our greed for tasty food, he started taking only boiled food, and then he is writing his revelation. Very interesting. Now, after a few days, I have started finding a wonderful taste in this boiled food. It's a wonderful thing. This whatever you do regularly, you develop a test, anything. So here also, what with resolution you do, you develop a test. And once you develop that test, now that bhakti has developed. And then you need not have to use the resolution. That's the best way of reminding anything. Have you ever find a mother sitting down and just taking the name of his child? Oh, I may forget my child. He's doing the japa of his child's name. Have you ever seen? It never happens. Because the child, he will always, this love makes her think of the child always. Even when she is busy with her duty, she has to think of the child. It is always there, constantly, 24 hours. In the words of Ramakrishna, it is just like the toothache. When you have a toothache, whatever you may be doing, that toothache always there has taken a part of your mind. You can never forget it. It's always there. So your love becomes like your toothache. And then only you can really become manmana. So mad bhakta, after saying manmana, he is saying mad bhakta. Don't think just you can keep your mind in me just with a resolution. You have to have the devotion, have to develop that devotion. Then only you can really become manmana. Manmana bhava mad bhakta, mad yaji. And how to develop bhakti? Yajana, constant, you have to do some with resolution by worship me. You go on worshipping with all the physical means. At present, I don't feel any inclination towards the divine. Yajana is a very interesting thing in our scriptures, that you don't have to renounce. Whatever you like, you give it to the divine. Now this is a mango season. I just buy some mangoes and just have it. It is an expression of my greed. And if I do this, what I do, I buy the same mango, and as I have the little devotion, what I do, I just first offer it to the divine, and then I will find a new feeling has developed, sublime feeling. Oh, this is prasada. I feel my body is getting purified. My mind is getting sublime by the thought of God. I am having something which has been sanctified by the divine. All yajana means that. This, what you say, that they say, Atmavat Deva Sevanam. Whatever you like, offer it to the divine, and then you have it. Then your desires get sublimated. Your desires get sublimated. That with your desire, now devotion got associated. So that's why yajana is very important. I still remember that a brahmachari's episode, very nice. He joined and he was asked to do puja, this everyday ritualistic worship as a new brahmachari. And now he found that as one of the ingredients of the puja, the perfume is used, gandha. And he revolted. He said, these are all worldly things. When I was with my family in my sister's wedding, this is the same perfume they have used, and this makes me think of all those worldly entanglements. It distracts me at the time of worship. And he went and complained to the in-charge. The in-charge never given any explanation. He told, just as has been described in your this puja paddhati book, do it meticulously the same way. If you find that somehow it is not up to your taste, then well, no one have requested you for this month. That was his very ultimatum, like an ultimatum. We have not invited you for this life. It is you who came. So the gate you will find is always open. There is no security guard for you. Anytime you can go. You have come, you can go. If you do find this is somehow up to your liking, then continue. Don't ask me for any reason. So he wasn't satisfied with that answer. He found it is very authoritative something. But still, he continued with his worship, and he himself experienced that what is the utility of such worship. Now he's saying that one day after a few months, I went to purchase the puja ingredients, the fruits, and the other ingredients of the puja. I went to the market. I went for shopping, and I was passing by a perfume shop, just by the perfume shop. It's a noisy place, unclean. A lot of people are there, crowded. And suddenly this smell, the smell of the perfume, immediately made my mind calm. Now this smell has become associated with my everyday worship. The association has changed. So even in the place of this, in a busy place, noisy place, unclean place, dirty place, I feel the sanctity of the shrine because the thing has changed. And this is the idea behind all our ritualistic worship, yajana. That whatever you like, don't have it just directly. Offer it to the divine, sanctify it, and then you have it. So that's why you associate all your day-to-day activities, everything with the divine. So this with matyaji you become bhakta, and that helps you to become manmana. So first, after saying manmana, what's the way? Be my bhakta. How to become bhakta? Matyaji. Mang namashkuru in everything, and just do it. When you're doing yajana, do it with that sense of awe, reverence. That there are two ways of giving. Someone asks me, I can just simply say, oh yeah, take it. Without any, just yesterday as I was saying, that Ramakrishna mission, the sadhus, brahmacharis, as the brahmacharis have to stay for 9 years to become a Swami. So in the traditional monks, if you go to Uttarkashi and all, the sannyas is given instantly. If anyone is willing, they go to the Guru gives him sannyas. So there is no such waiting period. So as for Ramakrishna order, they all know that we have to wait for 9 years. So a brahmachari is also considered as a sadhu for them. So when Bhandara was going on, the sadhu Bhandara, where they give the feast to the sadhus, it was going on. And now they have this, like all various categories. These Mahamandaleshwar, they were sitting in one queue. Mandaleshwars, the monks, the brahmacharis in the last queue. And there is a tradition of giving something as pranami. They will, along with the food, they will give some clothes and some cash in an envelope, because they also need for their own sustenance. And then the amount now varies. For Mahamandaleshwar it will be a big amount, and for the brahmacharis it will be a small amount. Now we were sitting with the brahmacharis. I was also there. And the ashrama which was conducting that bhandara, he suddenly came, and the one who was giving that envelope, the cash envelope, he said, these are all Ramakrishna Mission brahmacharis. Give them the amount as you gave for the sadhus, the same amount. So they were giving us, and then some other brahmachari from some other organization, he felt injured, insulted. Why? He stood up and said, I should also get that. And then this fellow said, okay, give him one. So that is not namaskuru. Acha, he's too much pestering, give him. So here, when namaskaru means that, no, with reverence. Not somehow you are just giving, acha, he's pestering, I just giving, just throw the money to him. No, nothing like that. With full reverence, knowing that he is the Lord of, he's the my antaratma, he's the soul of my soul. With that full reverence, with that sense of awe, I offered whatever I have to offer, I offer to the divine. Then mame vaishyasi, then having dedicated your mind thus and body to me, and getting unified with me, atmanang matpara, you certainly at last come to me and me alone. Matpara, this at last come to me. Mameva vaishyasi. If you are dedicating your mind and body to me, you will certainly come to me and me alone. So this is the assurance, this is the great secret which Bhagavan is speaking of. And we will find in the entire Bhagavad Gita actually, again and again, now and then, the same thing Bhagavan is saying. Again we will find it's in the, the 11th chapter, the Vishwarup Darshana. In that chapter also, this same idea is there. It ends with that verse again, that mat karma krit, mat paramo, mad bhakta, sangha varjita. Nirvaira sarva bhuteshu yah samameti pandava. What's the best way of attaining me? Mat karma krit. Whatever actions you are doing it as an offering to the divine. This mat paramo, thinking me to be the ultimate goal. Mad bhakta, be devoted to me. Sangha varjita, and be detached from the world. And the words of Ramakrishna, Ishware anurag, Vishaya virag. Detachment from the world, attachment towards the God. Only detachment to the world doesn't speak of spirituality. Even you will find someone who is depressed, his world, he has got detached from the world, but that doesn't enter in spirituality. Detachment followed by attachment towards the God. So Madbhakta Sangha Varjita, Ishwari Anurag, Vishaya Virag. So there we find, even in the 12th chapter, from 6th to 8th verse, the same idea again you will find. Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matpara ananye naiva yogena mang dhyayantu upasate. That's again the sarva karmani mai sanyasya. This offer all your activities to me and me alone. Matpara, think me to be the supreme goal. Again and again he's repeating the same idea. Ananya neva, ananya ena eva. That just ananya, this word is so important. Ananya. Anya means others. An is a negation. Without distracting your mind to all other things. With a focused mind, just think of me and me alone. Again and again Bhagavan is repeating that. This will give you the final deliverance. This brings you to me. It's not that you are not with me. You are always with me. Somehow you have forgotten that. You are forgetful about it. And then this forgetfulness is gone. You again are fully aware that you are always with me. You are my eternal companion. So in the 12th chapter also we find the 6th to 8th verse that he is giving that assurance there. Tesham ahang samudharta mrityu sansara sagarat bhavami na achirat partha maya veshita chetasam. That you do it for certain that if you have that type of devotion, at last you attain me. This from you get deliverance from this mrityu sansara sagarat. This sansara is nothing but the ocean of death, nothing else. Mrityu sansara sagarat. So from that you get deliverance. As Swami Vivekananda's that prayer line we always sing, Sampada tava sripada bhava goshpada vari jatha. Every day we sing that. That your sripada is sampada, is the wealth. Sampada tava sripada. Your lotus feet is the wealth of my heart. Why? Bhava goshpada vari yatha. The world is like ocean. I don't know how to cross it. But by taking your name, by always remembering you, by knowing that your feet is in my heart, I just always enshrine your feet. That's the treasure. When I know that, then this world which appears to be like Sagara, it becomes Goshpada. When the cow is moving, it create hoof marks on the ground. And then the rain pours, there's a downpour, and that hoof mark is filled with water. Even a frog can jump over it. So the ocean has become just like that hoof mark when I take your name. And that's the thing he's saying. Mrityu sangsara sagarat samudharta. I can just simply, deliver you from this mrityu sangsara sagara, from this ocean of this death. I can simply deliver you. So he's giving that assurance in the 12th and the 18th chapter, the same thing. From the 63rd to the 66th verse, you find the same idea. There also he's speaking of sarya sarva guhya tamang bhuya srinu me paramang vacha. This guhya, I'm speaking you something very, very secret. What is that? Ishtosi. Why I am saying it? Because you are my dear to me. Ishtosi me dridamiti tato vakshyami te hitam. Just as you are so dear to me, so I am saying it to you. What he is saying? Manmana bhava. Again that same thing. Manmana bhava mad bhakta mad yaji mang namashkur. The first line is exactly same as this last verse of the 9th verse of this 9th chapter. And then the last line is a bit different. Mame vaishyasi satyam te pratijane priyosi me. So almost as you are dear to me, then I am saying you this guhya, this kingly secret. Manmana bhava mad bhakta. This Bhagavan is again and again. And then at the last, in the 66th verse, this very famous verse, the same idea. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanang vraja aham tvam sarva papebhya mokshay swami mashacha. So that relinquish everything, all your dharma, and just take, refuge on me. So then I will deliver you from all sins. And you become mine and mine alone. You become unified with me. So this the same theme you will find in the entire Gita again and again. It's being repeated. And this is the guhya. This is the secret. Because this speaks of only the change of attitude. In this we will find, especially in the present age, I cannot think of going through all those rigorous disciplines, life. Because in the words of Ramakrishna, in this Kali Yuga, annagato pran, that many will be translating it as annagata pran means we cannot live without food. Who could live without food? Even the Satya Yuga they needed food. Annagata pran doesn't mean that we cannot live without food. That today we were giving that example. That what example? That with the laser came religion. Because we have a lot of laser. But very interesting. But the more we advanced the technology and everything, all our advancement is to get more laser, nothing else. Previously, just see at your home, at your house, you have the dishwasher, you have the washing machine. This all speaks of laser, not only your food. Even you don't have to wash your clothes. That also for that washing machine is there. Your dishes, the dishwash. But at last, do you have laser? So this is the big paradox of the present age. And what happens? I have to work from morning till night to get my anna. And that's the meaning of annagata pran. There is no freedom. There was a time they used to say, I don't want overtime. I won't work overtime. So for that, I don't want that extra money. I'm quite happy with what I do. Nowadays, they will say, either you work for this 2% work or you simply move out. Isn't it? There is no question of part-time doing anything. They will totally squeeze you. Well, how to do all this spiritual rigorous discipline? Not possible. Somehow take a breath, take the name of God, again start your work. That's possible. And Bhagavan is giving that assurance. You become that alone is sufficient. I will deliver you. So with this deliverance, that which Bhagavan is assuring, we end this chapter today. And we will start the 10th chapter in the next class. Thank you all. Namaskar.